Hey everybody, welcome back to Lamson Family Farms. My name is Max. So today, tonight, it's about 5:30. I am just about ready to, I'm actually just getting started on some evening chores. And tonight, on top of evening chores, I'm going to be getting a stall ready because we are bringing 2 new piglets to the farm tonight. So Julia is actually on her way to pick them up now, and I am going to get some pumpkin going in the oven. Okay, so I've got some pumpkin in here. So it's actually winter squash, but you can see. So I have been doing a pan of winter squash or pumpkins almost every day, and our animals are going through it. You know, I think I was a little worried about letting all this squash go bad, but in all reality, I can't bake it fast enough. We are getting 2 piglets tonight. I'm really excited about that. So we didn't think that we were going to be getting feeder pigs until next year, but I found some. They're already castrated, they're weaned, they're 8 weeks old. So they're Yorkshire, Duroc, and Hampshire crossbreeds. And so what we'll do is, it's a kind of a shame that I'm getting them at the end of garden season, but we do still have a good amount of squash and pumpkins. So we'll be feeding these guys over winter. I'll probably have to buy quite a bit of store-bought feed for them, but we have hay in the barn too. So they will go in the freezer probably, we're thinking between March to May. On the one hand, if we can get them big enough fast enough, we could put them in the freezer before goat kids and before we have animals in milk, which would make things easier for us. On the flip side, we could finish them off on milk if we wait until Ray calves, and she's due to calve mid-March. So if we didn't feel like they were big enough in March, we could just grow them out and put them on milk the last couple months and then get them in the freezer before summer. And that would be nice because we do plan on getting into the rotation of always having pork that we raise and putting that in the freezer. Okay, Onslow. Here you go. Okay, so Jetta's grain. So what I've been doing with them is I fill up a bucket. I give it to Jetta. Whatever he doesn't eat, I either give to the calf or I give to Mary. Yes, I know. I'm coming. Hi, Wicket. Come on, we'll get some too, okay? I know you want some grain. Yeah, I know. sometimes they like to lay little secret nests over there. So there was one over there, but yesterday there were 5. So 8 in total. Not bad. They had a pretty heavy day yesterday. And apparently I forgot to turn their light on today. So not too shabby. They're pretty hungry right now. So I gave them a scoop of chicken feed, but I have, I think it's like a 5-gallon saucepan full of kitchen scraps. So they'll be okay. And they really only need one of these feed scoops. Well, I generally do about 2 of these feed scoops worth of water every day, and it lasts them just fine. So there they go. Okay, so horses need hay thrown down. I like the system that I've been doing for the horses. And so what I've been doing is about every like 3rd or 4th day, I take the horses' hay nets and I take it over to the goat area, and I fill up their nets with the goat hay that the goats won't eat. And so the horses will eat it. And like they will eat it. But you know, we have a donkey. Mary, our gelding, is very food motivated. And so he eats all day if you let him. He will just eat all day. Like he won't stop. And so those two don't honestly really need super high quality horse hay. And I don't give them the goat hay every day. So like today they got 2 bales of hay. Tonight they're gonna get hay. Tomorrow they will probably get their morning feeding worth of goat hay, and in the evening I'll put them on regular hay. So they're not getting like what the goats have picked through every day, every meal. They're getting it sometimes. And so it has really helped me to decrease the amount of hay that I'm wasting. And instead of throwing that hay into the goat area for bedding, like my horses can eat it. And so it's less waste. So I'm really enjoying that system, quite honestly. I'm curious to see what it will be like when we add the pigs. Maybe I will. I love how the barn looks in the back. Such a pretty barn. I might end up putting what the goats have picked through in with the pigs. And so I'm curious to see how that goes. But anyway, so my system up here is, you can see them up in our like hay loft. And so we've got, this is the main part of the barn, and then there's 2 additions. So on this side, there's an addition over there, and I've got the chickens, and then that room that I'm going to be taking apart this winter. I'm really excited to take you guys on that project. So the last owners milled buckwheat. They made a rodent-proof, like multiple room inside the barn. It's kind of hard to describe, but I'm going to be taking that apart for hay storage. So we'll have that whole addition over there as hay storage. I'm hoping to use those boards as shelving in the basement so I can have a canning room. So you can see though, I've got my little hole in the wall, which is where I throw down the hay and it goes to the horse area. So there's Jetta eating, and let's see if you can see him. There's Mary being impatient, and then there's Wicket waiting patiently because he's such a good boy for his hay. So I'm going to throw down some bales. So Julie and I were talking about how it feels like we're going through this hay really fast. And this top layer, this is actually really nice hay, but some of it's just been okay, which we knew we were going to get because we did a really late first cutting. It was like middle of July and we were doing the first cutting. So everything had already gone to seed. It was already kind of dried out, but we needed it to get it off the fields. But I did look at the calendar, and like I said, we took the first bit off middle of July. It's already been 3 months, and so when we think about it like that, we're like, oh, actually we're not going through it at as high of a clip as we thought we were going to, or thought we were. So anyway, we go through about, very roughly, about 6 bales a day. So the goats get about, well, the girl goats get a bale a day. The boy goats go through about 3 bales a week. The horses could go through about 3 bales a day. So I usually just allot them, or like calculate it out. Each horse, and that includes the donkey, gets a bale a day. And then the cows go through 1 to 2 bales a day, which I know is a big variable, but it depends on the quality of the hay, and it depends on how much pasture they have. So right now they're going through 2 bales a day, and that's mostly because I'm feeding them the hay that is like the least quality, and they've mowed their pasture down. They're going through about 2 bales a day, and that's mostly because they pick through it. They hate that hay, which I don't blame them. It's not great. And so what I've been trying to do for them is give them a crappy bale at one feeding, and then the second feeding I give them a really nice bale. And so I imagine actually at some point soon, probably once I get them set up in their winter area, they will probably also need grain, just because I feel like they could use it, and because Ray is pregnant. And no, she is not from lines that could only be grass-fed. Her dam apparently produced 10 gallons a day. She's a standard Jersey. She always has been on the thin side. There's no way I could just skip grain for this cow. That would be inhumane. And I would encourage people who think that they can just buy cows, especially dairy breeds, and just put them on never having hay for all of their like times during their life. No. Like Ray has already been on grain for some of her like growing up, and she was off grain this summer because they were on an alfalfa field. But now that we're getting back onto exclusively hay, I'm going to need to put her back on grain. So it has been looking so pretty outside. We're definitely past peak foliage at this point, but we got quite warm. Looking for a pair of scissors. We got really warm this last week. It got up to 75 2 days ago, but now we're supposed to drop back into the 50s in the daytime. And so it felt like we hit peak foliage and then it got hot. And so things kind of kept their leaves for a little bit longer. And so it's just been really beautiful out. I love the view from the horse area. I'll show you, but she wants to say hi. So that's Goose. She's a real sweetie. I've got all this hay that I threw down here. Let me get that organized. Jed is still eating. He's kind of a slow eater. Hi, Wicked. I generally like to throw down about 2 days worth of hay, just so I don't have to do it every day. And then the calf has her own hay feeder, but she likes to nibble off this stuff too. So like today, horses are getting 4 bales. Yesterday they got goat hay. This morning I threw out 2 bales, and I was kind of in a rush, so I just threw it out instead of putting it in their hay nets. So I know that they wasted a little bit on the ground. But tonight I'm going to be putting all this in their hay nets. He's a good boy. I really like him. I really like you, Wicket. You're a good boy. Okay, let's fill up some hay nets. Mary can wait. He's already eating. done eating his grain. Well, he's had as much as he's gonna eat. He never eats the whole thing. And I can always tell because he gets distracted by the hay in there. So when he switches to hay, I know he's done with the grain. And so I know there's some left over, and I didn't give any grain to Mary last night, so I'm gonna switch them. So Mary is kind of a messy eater, and so I know there will be, oh, that's a big buck. Beautiful. I gotta show you. Let me see if I can zoom you in. This zoom isn't actually that great. Here we go. Oh, looks like 2 of them. So they're still coming out into that field. You know, they eat, but they like to come up to the apple trees. So anyway, so Julia called to say that she got the piglets, and she's on her way home right now. She said they're not super friendly, which is not, you know, be all end all. They're 8 weeks old. But I'm planning on friendlying them up. I love pigs. Pigs are like my favorite. I think pigs, then cows. But when I was growing up, oh, I loved pigs. I always teased because I didn't grow up in a farming house, but my mom grew up in a more rural area in Ohio, and I would usually come back to see my grandparents in Ohio for Fair Week in the summer. Always wanted to do the greased pig competition, and they never would let me because they thought I would catch one, and then they wouldn't have anywhere to put it. But I always loved watching the animals getting judged. Like, I'm sure it's not a shock to any of my relatives that here I am on a farm. Like, this is what I was always inclined to as a kid. But now I feel like I'm kind of just catching up because what some kids got the exposure to, I didn't get growing up. As far as, like, you know, some animal husbandry things and, you know, knowing small details about keeping land and all that. So, I just figured out where I left my clippers this morning. I just feel like it's awfully ironic that my parents tried to steer me away from this, and here I am. When I was growing up, I was allowed to keep pets that could fit in a tank or a cage, and I had every aquatic fish. I had all sorts of rodents, tadpoles. I kept turtles. We had a blue and gold macaw. Never had a dog. Never technically had my own cat, although we had one outdoor cat for a while who was named Max. But my best friend down the road, Casey, her dad ran one of the local feed stores, and they had all sorts of animals. They had horses, dogs, cats, chickens, ducks. They had goats at one point. All sorts of animals. I loved it down there. I spent so much time down there with her. So I sometimes think of myself here and I'm like, nobody could be surprised. You know, I will say, if you have kids, if they show a natural inclination towards something, run with it. Let them explore it. You know, people are generally more happy doing something that they love, and if your kid is showing an aptitude for a skill set, that might be a good inclination that they would like to work or live in that lifestyle. So, you know, here I am. All right, go, come on. Okay, so the pigs are here. They're just right down there. Move to a little bit. So there's two. The white one is a gilt. The black and white is a barrow, which is a castrated male. They're 8 weeks old. They're not really well handled. They're pretty freaked out. It's a big change for them. I don't think they had a lot of socializing, which, I mean, they're feeder pigs, so totally expected. And they came from a larger place. I think Julia said there were like 15 in their pen, and then I think they had 30 others available in a larger size. So I'm just gonna get their food in here and I'm gonna leave them alone. So I probably will spend a good amount of time trying to friendly these guys up, just because I don't want them freaked out. You know, more tame animal is generally easier to handle and move around. So, and I also love pigs, so I'm really excited for these guys. I love how pigs feel, and they make the cutest noises. I just love pigs. And, you know, pigs are like one of the smartest barn animals you can have, and I just don't want them to spend their whole life freaked out. So they're gonna get some pumpkin tonight, they're gonna get some hay, some grain, and some water. I'm just gonna leave them alone. We've got the cats in here. Cats are like freaking out. They're like, what the hell is that? And so I'm just trying to be kind of quiet, and then I will leave them alone. They'll spend the night in here, check on them tomorrow. Okay, well, thanks for joining me for chores and welcoming our new piglets, everybody. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.